It's devlog number 3, and you know what they say? Third time's a charm. So let's get straight into everything. First of all, here's all the features so far. So first, we got our first biome, which is the dark field, with the exotic dark candy trees that can give you a delicious food source, which is the dark candy. It's wood type, to use for all of your majestic and frankly emo houses. Next, we have our shiny new Scarlet Forest biome filled with the iconic trees that give you this nice pinkish red tone to show that you're feeling kinda cute, but also filled with murderous intent. And then finally you have the Iron of the Dark World, the dark shard armor, weapons, and minerals found exclusively in the caves down below, where you can make them out of their tiny shiny spots that you can see them in the caves. So now that we're done the summary, here's what we're going to be adding this devlog. So first are the ideas that I thought about myself, because we have a lot of different ideas from all different people, including me. And so for my ideas, we have the Forgotten Man room, aka the tree room that you can see to get the egg, Sham's shop, the great board, the bunker structure, which is in this mod going to be the way you can actually get into these dark worlds. And then for suggestions that other people wrote, it's a dark dollar currency, some puzzles around the map so you can get like some loot, D burgers, D chocolate, and then a couple more items that you can actually like equip and use, which would be like the wood blade, the spooky sword, the main axe, the brave axe, the scarf, and the ragger. And then obviously maybe a little bit more here and there if I have the time to do that. Alright, so now that we're done both the summary and what we're going to be adding, here's the footage of me making everything into the devlog number 3. Alright, let's get straight into it. So before we start making the structures, which I'm not entirely sure on how to do that yet, I want to first get into like the rhythm of making content for the mod first, and that's by starting with easier tasks. For this, it'd basically be the items that were suggested by these viewers. So we're gonna start with the food items, which is the D burger and the D chocolate. So for that, we can easily just redo what we did with the dark candy. And that is just retexturing, changing how much hunger it gives, how much saturation it gives, and that's kind of about it. So let's get straight into that. So we're done making the food items, I guess, so far. And what's left for the items are obviously the kind of base weapons that you would see in the game, which is like the ones you would start off in Chapter 1 with Chris, Susie, and Ralsei. So obviously like Chris would have the wood blade, and then like the spooky sword, and then for Susie we have like the main axe, and then the brave axe. And then obviously for Ralsei you have the scarf, red scarf and then Ragger, one or the other. So that's a bit more fun. They aren't going to be like as good as the Dark Shard armor, but they're still going to be like an option that is there for you to have, and you can definitely find them in like chests, or you can buy them. So whatever it is, like they're kind of like the basic items of the Dark World, and they're not going to be as good as the Dark Shard, but they're also not going to, they're going to be better than wooden tools, maybe like stone tools like around there. So that's what we're going to be making now. Alright, so I just kind of thought about it before we make Ralsei's weapon. There's kind of like a problem that comes with it, and an idea is to make it into two separate items. You have the scarf armor, and you have the scarf weapon. And then when you make for example, like when you make Ralsei's scarf, you will find like you're gonna make both the item to equip, but also the item to fight with. And then like obviously in a chest you might only find one piece, which is like you might only find the armor, but you also might find the weapon. So I think that's like the only way I could think of making it work, unless I do it so when you have it equipped you make more like your fist damage are stronger. But I'm not entirely sure on how to really like make it work. So I think for now I'm just gonna separate them into two different type of items. So yeah. Well, that took a while. It is currently 8:23 and the recording is around 3 hours long, but that's okay. I mean, that's usually how it is with like finishing the like half of the features is I usually get to like 3 o'clock. Um, and then obviously like there's extra minutes here and there where it's just like either I ate something or whatever, just like time loss. So 3 hours isn't too bad when it comes to like time. But regardless, I've added everything that I want to add in terms of items. So obviously step 2 is to add all the structures, but for now we just want to like see if all the items are actually inside of the game. So yeah. Okay, so we're now in Minecraft to showcase all of the features. I've put these iron golems so we can use them as damage testing dummies. For the first features, obviously you saw, is the food items. I'm gonna wait just a little bit before using them because obviously I need my hunger to be lower. But while we wait for that, we're gonna show the second part, which is all of these crafting items and crafting ingredients, which we can use to make all of the weapons and the new items that we made. So now that we got all of the basic, I guess, tools, for the whips, I've made them so that they attack really fast and they're around as good as a wooden sword, but they're just a little bit better, so it makes it worthwhile to get it. For the main axe, I made it so it's basically a damage dealer. It's not too great at being an axe, but the drawback is that while it is weaker in terms of like being an axe, you do a lot of damage, so it's meant to be used as a melee weapon. And the iron axe does around 9 damage, but because this is the main axe and it's meant to be a damage dealer, it has gone all the way up to 11. And the main point of why it balances out is that we have a very long cooldown, and it's about 4 seconds of cooldown, so that's kind of the drawback. It's so you get a heavy hitting weapon, but you have to wait a long time to use it. And then finally you have the wood blade, which is just a little bit better than a wooden sword. But other than that, there's no big improvement compared to like the other cooler weapons. Obviously, these weapons can be upgraded into like their stage 2 version, so to speak. So the main axe can be made into the brave axe, and then the red scarf whip can be made into the ragger, and the wood blade can be turned into the spooky sword. And now what's special about these like second grade items is that they can all inflict their own status effects on them, as well as just being a little bit stronger than their counterparts. So the ragger ends up inflicting withering on their enemies. The brave axe doesn't wither, it does a lot more damage, so instead of doing 11, it does 13. But the drawback is that it takes a little bit longer for the cooldown to like end, and that's because it's heavier because of all the materials that you added to it. And then for the spooky sword, it inflicts blindness on the enemy, and while this isn't too important on vanilla single player because mobs don't really get affected by blindness like players, in multiplayer it works pretty well because you can blind your opponents. And that's about it for the weapons. Now, you can actually turn the red scarf and the ragger into their armor counterparts. So the ragger whip will become a ragger armor, and the red scarf can become a red scarf armor version. Both of these items, they end up giving you a speed boost because it is such a light item, and the red scarf is just as good as a leather cap, and the Ragger is just as good as a chainmail helmet. So I don't want to make it too overpowered because it is giving you an extra speed boost. Anyways, so now that we're done dealing with the armor part, let me showcase all of the food items. So the dark burger is just a little bit better than bread, and it is kind of lower than a steak. And like all of these three items, their main similarity is that compared to a lot of overworld counterparts, they don't give a lot of saturation, and this is because they are dark items, so they don't fill you up as much, and this was kind of recommended by one of my viewers. Here they are. And so the burger only gives around 3 saturation points. Now for the Choco Diamond, it gives 2 hunger points, and its saturation is 1. And then finally the Dark Candy, as we saw before, its saturation is around half a bar, and it gives you 0.3 saturation. So it's really something to eat a lot and quickly, and that's just because you find them basically everywhere. And that's about it for the showcase of all of the items. So now we can move on to the second part of the devlog, which is adding all the structures. So normally I would show you the process of me making the textures, structures, puzzles, really everything by showing you what you've been seeing so far. But after finishing the structures, and then making the footage, and then realizing that it's a total of 15 hours of footage, I realized that this would be frankly impossible to make into a 40, let alone 20-minute video. So instead, kind of like how I've been taking over in VR with the last devlog, I'm going to make this segment mode more fancier by moving out of this hellhole and switching it to broader horizons. A classroom! Yep, get used to it, because whenever footage ends up taking too long, I'll be showing you how all of this gets created through the practice of learning. Except funner. Keep in mind, it's probably funner for you to watch a YouTube video than go into some class. Yeah. Anyways, so first, Structures 101. First of all, you have structure blocks, which are the basis of making structures into Minecraft. What structures are we going to make today? How I built them into the game. Let me move over here. Converting them into MC Creator. And then playtesting them once they're inside the game. So firstly, the structure block. The structure block is a special block that you're only going to be able to get into commands. And the way it works is, for example, we take this square block here. The way it works is you would put your first structure block once you have it in game. This is what it looks like. You would put it at the bottom, one of the bottom corners, right here. Alright, imagine this is a 3D cube. Now, to finalize your structure block, you will put it at the opposite corner, right here. And this is going to end up making the box, or the frame. And everything inside this frame that you see right here is going to be what's going to be your structure. And now once you have that, you need to make sure that this structure block is sent to corner mode, which I'll send a picture on what that looks like here. Because if you don't, it won't show the box. Now after this, you also have to press detect, because that will make the box show up. Finally, you have to rename the structure that you want to actually make into the game. And then finally, you can change the size of the thing to be even bigger or smaller, or you can also change it to be, let's just say there's grass here, well, you would change it to make it so that it takes account of the grass and what's on top of the grass. And then finally, you just have to save it and then grab it from your folder. Now that the in-game method has been shown, here's what structures I want to make in this devlog. So at first you have the Eggman room, and the way I thought about this is you would find these like hills in like the overworld, not the overworld, the dark worlds, and one of them has a chance to be a Eggman room. And you would be able to find this because the door here would have inconsistencies with the textures, so you'd be able to, and it'd be flat, so you'd be able to like tell that there's something wrong with that hill. And now once you go inside this hill, it would be like a pitch black room with the tree like you see in Deltarune. And then once you right click the man here, you get the egg. Pretty simple. Now, my second idea was the shelter. And the idea here is that this is the way to go into the dark worlds from the overworld. I had a couple other ideas, but if I'm going to do those, it's going to be another devlog, and that's going to be either like having structures that represent the way you get into the chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3, chapter 4, chapter 5 dark worlds is by having like, for example, a flower shop into the overworld or something like that. Anyways, for now, this is the main way to get into them. And basically you would find these structures pretty rarely. You'd only find them in like forest or plains biomes. And once you find it, you will have this bunker door and you would have to like enter a code to be able to enter the doors. And then once you go in there, the inspiration I want to put is by using the True Lab. And so you would find like a True Lab coloration kind of texturing inside of the shelter, and then you would find a dark world portal, and then that's how you get into the dark worlds. And then finally, I want to have some variety with the dark worlds where you don't just go there to explore, you can also go there to get rewards, get loot, and for that, I'm introducing puzzles. Puzzles work, the main 3 puzzles I put into this devlog is the matching puzzle, the one where you have to put the specific shapes, I guess you would say, and then that gives you a reward. This one, which is the stepping, where you have to step on the correct buttons, and then you would get your reward. Or finally, a timer type puzzle where you have to step on all of them at a specific amount of time. And that's about it. So once I had the ideas, like for the structures, I quickly built the egg room first. And in terms of building, the egg room actually is rather simple, since you just kind of make a hill, and then inside the hill you hollow it out, obviously, put your dark blocks, which I had to custom make because they don't really exist into like Minecraft blocks, I guess, other than black concrete, but even then it's all pitch black. And then you just cover all of the outside, like the inside shell with the black blocks. You put a tree in, and then you put the man in. So it's relatively simple to build. For the shelter, it also was rather simple, but with the caveat that a lot of the blocks used inside the shelter had to be made, and that took not too long. I'm gonna say like around an hour, where obviously you have the floor tiles, you have the wall tiles, you have the bottom wall tiles, because I want them to be a difference between, for example, here and then here. I also had to make the ceiling tiles, and then I had to make a special ceiling tile that had a light source, because I want to be like, I didn't want the whole place to be pitch black and monsters could just spawn inside of the shelter, because that'd be kind of stupid. And then I also had to make some decoration blocks, such as the bunker doors, obviously, so I had to make the vines on top and all of that. I also wanted to make the kind of the entry log, so where you would see entry 17, for example, or not really entry, just all of the entries, how it's like kind of like a terminal. I had to make like 2 variations of those. Here's what they look like, and that's basically it. I mean, I just put it together, retextured the portal for the dark world, and that's about it. It took relatively quickly. So for the third structure, these are the puzzle structures. The first one, which is the weight puzzle, I call it, it was relatively simple, since you really just had to make the walls, make the floor tiles, and then finally you just put the pressure plates, which would activate once all of them are pressed, you get an item. And then second of all, you have the second puzzle structure, which is the matching structure, which I called it, which for this it's simple enough. You just replace the inside of the blue bricks, you put the shapes, and then whenever you get all of those shapes correctly, you get the item. Now finally, for the final puzzle structure, it was a little bit more difficult. And this is because I didn't really want to just make a puzzle where you just kind of run around like that and there you go, you get it. I want to make it a little bit more challenging. And for that, I kind of made this obstacle course where you have to kind of hit the pressure plates in like, for example, 10 seconds. And if you don't get treasure. But if you manage to get them all, you get chest loot. Now, I didn't manage to fix these puzzle rooms before this video, and that's mostly because I think there's the way you make puzzles into Minecraft are kind of complicated depending on how you want to do that. But I'm gonna eventually go back into that and end up fixing it. Once I, and potentially you if you get inspired by this devlog, are done with all of your structure shenanigans and you wanted to put it into MC Creator, what you have to do is follow this step. You go into your resource pack, in Minecraft obviously, go into your folders, go backtrack into saves, go into generations, and then you'll find all of your folders in there where you have all your generated structures. Then once you're in MC Creator, you want to go plus elements, and then you'll see structures. You name it whatever you want really. And then obviously you import it via this green arrow. And then finally you limit what biomes you want your structure to spawn in. For example, this is the shelter, and I wanted it only to spawn in plains biomes or forest biomes, so I put those in there. And then finally you just import it in, and then keep this in mind for when you want to import your structures, is that you have to set up how you want your structures to blend into the world. And now the two examples that I have here is the ancient city, where it's underground, but it doesn't get affected by anything outside. It's like it's its own bubble basically underground. Or you can have, for example, under the sea level, which is kind of reacts like a, I guess, ocean ruin, and that will let it spawn on the seafloor basically. Anyways, for me, I just put bearded thin and raw generation, which just means that it kind of just places on grass, and that's about it. And then once and for all, I just had to go and playtest all of the new structure that I added. So that's kind of it for this room for today, and yeah, enjoy watching the playtest. I'll see you guys after it's done on the outro. See ya. Alright, so I spawned into this world here, and I put myself obviously in the, like, one of the biomes that can spawn the shelter, and just so we can kind of do like a step-by-step process of how you would kind of end up in the dark worlds. So I'm gonna go explore just a little bit, because I didn't make the bunkers too rare. So I'll just wander in the forest just a little bit, and then hopefully I, you know, find one eventually. Okay, we got a little bit of food, so oh my fucking god, ain't no way. Well, that's just pure luck. Genuinely, I was not expecting that. I saw sunflowers, and I'm like, I guess I didn't really think about it, but I guess the moment I just saw the sunflowers just a little bit for more than like 2 seconds, I did decorate like the bunker so it could kind of blend into the forest, but I didn't think I would find one like this soon. But yeah, I mean, this is what it looks like. For now, it's I've set up the keypad to kind of work. So obviously, you know, if you put 5, 1, 9, if you press clear, it clears a number. But if you put 6, you get the shelter key. And for now, it doesn't really matter if you have it or not, but it's still cool to have it, I guess. I also made it so that they actually emit the sounds from the bunker. And yeah, I mean, here's what it looks like in game. It's kind of spooky and stuff. And obviously here's the portal, so I guess we just hop in there. Alright, so now that we're in the Dark Worlds, we're gonna need to find a Fields of Hopes and Dreams because the Eggman room does not spawn in here, so we're gonna have to walk a little bit until we find it. Oh shit, it's right here. Okay. So I mean, this is kind of the way it looks like. So you can tell, like, if you look at it here, you have a bunch of pixels, and then just so happens that you see, like, obviously there's a little bit of light here, but on the main part, there's not as many pixels. And so, obviously the room spawns correctly. This is all like blocks here, and they all cover the inside of the shell. And there has been this bug where the man just doesn't spawn properly, but that's fine. I mean, it's relatively simple to fix once I do that after this devlog is published. But anyways, so here's the man. You're supposed to see him in the room, so it's a bit more spookier. But yeah, so once you right click, you get the Forgotten Egg. And then I'm gonna make it so you could sell it or do something with it, so that, you know, it's not, you don't get it for no reason. Now we just have to go find the puzzle biomes, or the puzzle structures I should say, and these structures can just spawn everywhere, so again I'll just be walking for like a little bit and cut until when I find it. So first of all, we have this puzzle, and the way it works is you put one down here, put one down here, or you can use any of your friends or other players or entities to push all of the buttons down, and when you do that, you're going to unlock your chest. And you can be really lucky, but also be really unlucky by not getting too many items. I just got a dark shard block from here, I just crafted it instantly when I saw it. But that's kind of the principle of this one. Let's go and teleport ourselves to the second puzzle now. Alright, so for the second puzzle, you would basically flick this lever and it would start up a timer, and you have to go click on all of the pressure plates in time, because if you don't get the rewards. So you'd click on this one, this one, this one, and this one. And once you do that, this and this chest will show up. And I've already looted all the chests, but you get the principle. And if you can still remember by the time you actually playtest the mod, there's a secret chest right here, so keep that a secret, I guess. Now let's go to our third and final structure of today's video. So this is our final structure, which is the match puzzle, and you'd basically make sure that all of the blocks are put in the correct order, and then once you do that, you get your items. It's relatively simple, and I've noticed that for some reason a lot of these puzzles like to spawn in the water, which I still don't understand why, but rest assured it does spawn in the biome. It's just they like to spawn in the water for some reason. Anyways, that's about it, so I'll let outro me do the, well, outro, and hopefully you guys enjoyed what you've seen here today. So yeah, I'll see you guys in the next vlog if I don't end up saying that. So, bye-bye. Hey everyone, I'm not in VR because it's pretty late, and I already just got on VR not even a couple hours ago to do the takes for the, I guess the education section, or whatever you want to call it. And yeah, it took a bit of energy off of me, so I'm just gonna do this on my desktop. I guess thanks for making this far. I mean, if you're new and you're like, it's your first time watching this series, welcome to the series. I hope you stick around to see how it, I guess, evolves. And, you know, hope to see you next time. If you're kind of a recurring viewer that keeps watching these types of videos, thanks for watching me and actually enjoying the stuff that I make, and just, I guess, being a viewer, and that's cool. Next devlog is going to be talking about not talking about, it's going to be working on enemies, currencies, how to use your newly found dark dollars, maybe adding a couple more structures, and maybe, yeah, probably adding more items. Probably, yeah, I'm gonna say it's probably gonna be an item, a structure, a little bit of structure, not too much. I've had so much, so I've had my fill for structures for the next 2 weeks, and yeah, the currency and the shopping, because I really want to work on that. I want to work on Sham's shop this devlog, but I never got to because I got busy and all that. So yeah, that's what to expect next devlog. So I hope to see you then. I'm I never knew this room existed. This is the same world that I use in my retrospective video. I haven't been here in a while, and I just realized that this place exists, so that's cool. Uh, Other than that, I'm going to finish editing my video, and I hope to see you guys next time. If I could wave, I would, but I physically cannot. There you go, just like in Minecraft. Anyways, so yeah, I'll see you next time. Have a good day. See ya.